generations ago, it was the women who dropped out of school, had babies, still do. But right now, more women are graduating from college than men. Women are becoming more doctors, lawyers, all that. Last couple of generations. Mostly this last one. Mm-hmm. Now, what's going on? This transcends race. This transcends countries. This is a global trend that women are outshining men academically. Mm-hmm. Women are getting the degrees. They want to be doctors and they want to do the real thing, Wall Street, whatever. All of it. In fact, in everything you can name, with one exception, maybe science. Women were never, encouraged to do science, but I think that's just a matter of time too. Women going into sports, things that men used to do. Now, where are the men? I want to know, are the men giving up on school, on the idea of getting ahead? Women are like, hey, we can do this too. And so maybe it's new for women. But what's happening? It kind of worries me. They're saying there's a book called The End of Men by Hannah Rosen, the book that I opened, and she thinks that guys are sitting in the basement with the video games and the hip-hop music and the pizza and living off mom and dad, and they just don't have any incentive anymore. Is this part of withdrawing? It seems like half the men are getting into the violent society and the other half are withdrawing, and that's the two. And then there's what's going on.
Well, it's easier to withdraw than to be a part of something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have to become a part of something, you got to put in work. Mm-hmm. But it also takes the mindset and the courage to do so.
I just want, academics used to be the ticket out for everybody. Yeah, everybody used to hear, everything, mind is a terrible thing to waste, etc. That's not as hip and cool as it used to be. Right. That's just not considered. Now everybody wants to be, people have always wanted to get into sports as a way to get ahead, but now people want to be stars, or they openly want to be in gangs.
Alrighty, now just as a reminder, you got to be real close to these mics.
Introduce our next guest.
Please.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of smart and intelligent and all that stuff, and where are the men? Where are the men? My next guest, when I tell you, this man is everywhere.
All right.
I mean, he has internet radio show. He has an internet video show. He just wrote a book. This young man wrote a book.
Neat books.
He's a hip hop artist. He's a producer. He's a videographer. I'm up on my game, man. I gotta do my research, right? Yeah. I want to introduce Ricky Prince. Mr. Prince, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I always call him Mr. Prince. Even when I inbox him, like, Mr. Prince, you got time to do something? So how do you feel about the conversation so far? What's your thoughts? I know you got some.
On the music or what?
Well, on the music.
Daisy was talking about.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can discuss.
Anything you want.
Lead off on what Daisy was talking about, the question that she posted.
Okay.
As far as where are the men?
Okay. Well, I personally feel that in today's time, first we got to look at, exactly how we got to examine the man and the woman. I think we all as people are becoming more conscious, and we all are familiar with the fact that most men live their lives more on a spiritual level and women live their lives more on a material level. So I think the attraction to what matters more has become a more dominant factor to the women, you know what I'm saying? And I think they are no longer waiting on men to be their security. And a man doesn't care if a woman waiting on him or not. A man is a man.
You're going to keep it real.
Unless it's waiting on him, yes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it might have a lot to do with the new women's empowerment songs. You know, like Beyonce, the girl song, We Are the Girl, whatever. Mary J. Blige. A lot of these artists have women empowerment songs that makes a woman feel like she's invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So also that shows that
about it.
Exactly. So Sasha Fierce lives in all of us. So that Sasha Fierce comes out, and that's another example of how, although music does affect us, it can affect us in a positive push forward type manner as well. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel? What are you working on now? And basically with your projects, what do you focus on? What audience are you focused on?
All right, my audience will be anyone, regardless of what you got going on, regardless of what you do. I just love appealing and doing things for people. As far as what I have going on, it's Roll Ready Records. That is my record label, and Third Eye Scope is my film company. But Front to Bottom ENT, I have got with them, and they're my management company, and they're helping me with the radio, 109.3 grams, the online radio, and I'm currently working on my book, Divine Love and Energy, which will be available to the public on Valentine's Day.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
Because, I read a lot of your Facebook posts, and I'll laugh and I'll watch your videos, and you tell me it's a little rough around the edges, but sometimes we need rough around the edges.
Right.
Because when what do you call it, pure talk? When you keep it in pure talk, that's what it is.
Right.
You're not sugarcoating anything.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this right here. How do you feel about the fact that, okay, this past weekend, we had 4 deaths. Throughout, from Lawrence to Greenville. 2 young people were murdered. One just died yesterday. May rest in peace. Well, may all of them rest in peace. Right. How do you feel about that? What do you think? What do you feel is pushing our youth to be so violent towards each other? Why are they so angry? Because people are angry.
Honestly, I would have to say themselves. I mean, people have guns, people have music, people make movies. People go, us as people, we always are influenced.
Exactly.
But we have to take responsibility for all of our own actions. And I feel like if you are a child, then your parents should take responsibility. And even if you don't have parents, or if you choose to be rebellious, the experience will still always be on the teacher that you ever have. So I just feel like people should just take responsibility for their actions, and on a music level, not blame artists for the messages that they give, because 9 times out of 10 they either just entertaining to make $1, or they're just telling you their own lives.
Now your records, and speaking of that, I listen to a lot of your music, and your record basically speaks on your life, just about everything that you write. Even you did some inspirational stuff. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. I mean, just across the board, but it's hard for an artist like you to cross over. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
to stay over, because people, you always have those people that's like, exactly. There you go with that Jesus stuff, yada yada yada. Yeah. But you keep it. You bring in everything that you have inside of you at the time. When you go into that studio, you turn to a totally different person. You're so focused, and you just want to spit what you got to say and make a nice record. And at the end of the day, sell it to some people. You know what I'm saying? Get a little buzz on the street.
I think music is emotion, feeling, moods, and all of us expressing.
If you break up with somebody, don't listen to no slow music. You're going to be broke down. I'm telling you.
Listen to that turn up music.
Exactly. You got to turn up all day if you broke up with somebody, because if not, well, you're going to be depressed as I don't know what. Right. Back in the day, NWA, you remember that song, F the Police? So people was like flipping over cars and all this stuff, and they were like, oh, that song has everybody going crazy. Well, that song did kind of spark something in people, but it was already an angry society, you know what I'm saying? So when society is feeling a type of way, and then they hear an aggressive song, that does spark something different in them. And to me, like Ricky said, that is your own choice. But when it comes to young people, like, how do we at least attempt to change their mindset?
I think most artists, whether it's in their songs or in their interviews, need to tell the whole story. If you're a rapper talking about selling drugs, don't forget to tell them that the consequences,
exactly.
And to tell them why you did it, because 9 times out of 10, the people who are successful, they did it, not saying that their reason was good, but they did it to survive, to feed their families. They might have had a daughter at an early age. They might have been on child support. And yes, that was your fault that you got in that, but your intentions is what got you to the next level. You feel what I'm saying? I think people need to pay more attention to people's intentions as well, rather than their actions, because everybody's motives ain't the same.
Exactly. So what are your intentions with your music?
My intentions is to let everyone know that we are dealing with divine energy and love, and that we are all brother and sisterhood, but at the same time, you have to be true to yourself and know thyself. Because if you don't, you're going to always become gullible and vulnerable and easily influenced.
And somebody brought it to my attention, they said, well, ask them about the lyrics, like degrading women, calling women bees and all this stuff. And I told them, I said, we can actually touch on that, but then let's ask women why we call each other those names.
Right.
And why they are now terms of endearment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see somebody in the club, oh, that's my bee over there, girl, what's up? So is it the way somebody says it to you that makes something pop off? Or... In
some cases it is. And I mean, I done made a song, I have done songs where I've said girl or woman, and people have been like, it would have sounded right saying the B word or the H word, because the substance that was related to it. And 9 times out of 10, people gonna listen to that type of music either during an angry time or a fun time in the club party. And I don't know why, but some women like to be really called that.
And you got a fan base, you know, your fan base is all different ages. You know what I'm saying? What's the message that you would like to tell young people? In fact, not people our age, you know what I'm saying? Because we're kind of making our decisions as we go along. You know, we know the consequences. I know if I do something, you shoot you or whatever, I know I'm going to jail. Right. You know what I'm saying? I know you dead and you gone forever. A lot of kids don't have that concept because of video games, and that's one thing people need to touch on as well. The video game industry has a lot of people desensitized. Right. You know what I'm saying? They act like, you know, if they kill you, you get another life. You're going to get back up, and that's going to be what's happening when it's really not. And so what would you tell young people who you know listening to you right now, because there's a lot of kids listening to you, about violence in the community, and basically how you've grown past it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know in your past, you know what I'm saying, you've done some things that you regret. Right. But how do you continue to, you know, kind of talk yourself out of busting somebody upside the head, basically?
Well, one way is to be spiritually connected. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of your choice, whether it's a Bible, chakras, whatever, fellowship, whatever you choose to do. And the second thing would be productivity. Always being productive and always striving to be positive. Even if you have to keep telling yourself something over and over, I can't do this, I can't say this, I can't be this way, and it's not because you want to appeal a certain way for the public, but because you know that you're trying to better yourself. And that's what matters. So I would say, in the process, the best way I would put it is, while you create yourself, educate yourself.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yes, please do introduce the song.
Pushing High by Ricky Prince.
All right. Scotty, what's up? Oh, that's right.
It's a question about which radio stations do they have a responsibility to the communities that they broadcast in. And if they're putting violence out there through the airwaves, whether it's through music, whether it's through television, whether it's through the movie screens, whatever, if they're still not putting violence in the community, and if radio stations are indeed a part of our community,
that's why I started Black Top Radio.
You can turn down.
Stop the violence.